that's revenge. Heard they was sleeping again, said no more.
Fast and fast they spread. In this game of risk and fortune, we're always streets ahead. Feel a surge, you're on the road, started something grand. Market experts leading, trying to take command. Epic moves, crypto groove, playing the fast lane. As market experts, we're dominating every gang. Unleashing power, and the sharp light up the night. Cruise on our guiding star, lead us into non-adjusted, every rise is in our claim to fame. Analyzing trends and strategy to stake our name. Confidence and fearless drive, pushing to the top. Crypto stud, the market crew where action doesn't stop. Unleash potential, feeling heat, this journey's just begun. Managing risk, embracing change, we shine like the sun.
Crypto YouTube, how's it going? Crypto Stud here with another banger. This video is brought to you by Bybit. I am now officially affiliated with them. Link in the description if you're interested in joining me on Bybit as well. I will be doing live trades on Bybit eventually. Right now, currently just trying to get everything packed and ready to move to my new location. I have about another week of craziness and then things should settle a little bit, but I did just realize that the holidays are on their way here as well, so there will be some lack during the holidays as well, but you know, we'll grind it 24/7 when we can't. But the greatest thing about my group, my trading group, is that regardless if I'm around or not, you're able to excel and exceed and be a good trader yourself, right? That's what we all want these days. We just want someone who is a good trader, good risk management, good analyzing, and overall just good trading, right? I do kind of want to make this video a more cooled, chilled video than a lot of my previous videos to get kind of hyped up and ramped up for it. You know, we did get a move down on Bitcoin. I still do think that we hit a new all-time high, but we did have a really nice pullback from our order block region, and we'll discuss that in this video as well. I did want to discuss the bots first of all. It's still up. It's not up as much as I would like it to be. So I'm going to be modifying the script a tad bit more. I'm going to be adding a trend based, and then based on whatever the trend's going, you can set your own limits of risk. So for example, if you pop this open, we'll have limits of risk This is the default setting, so this is why this is all messed up right here. But you'll have different levels of risk that you can have, different levels of take profits and stop loss. Now, the trend is pretty much based on juxtapose on multiple time frames, based on how juxtapose moves on those time frames to whether it's a bullish, bearish, or neutral time frame. So the concept's coming along pretty well. I just wanted a bit more from the bot. I wanted to be able to take trades or have it be in trades, take trades, and kind of just let it squeeze a bit more profit if the trend is that direction. So, you know, if the trend is a bullish trend, you can set the take profit a little bit higher than one that wouldn't be a bullish trend. So right now I kind of just have it taking a set take profit and a set stop loss. Which is great and everything, but at the same time, if Bitcoin moves up $1,000, I only take 0.5% of that take profit, and there could be more to that potentially. So a lot of this will change over more, especially when I get over to Bybit and I start doing trailing stop losses as soon as take profits hit. Hopefully it can be coded. I assume it can be coded. Bybit does have the API, and they do have a really good API system there. So I'm assuming that it can be done. Hopefully that is the case. If not, at least the trend and this new way that I'm kind of modifying this will help hold trades longer. And then I'm probably thinking of maybe, if it's not going towards the trend, to turn off trades that going that way, right? Unless I can finally, fully get a good system regardless of what the trend is. But ideally, when you're going with the trend, you want to take those trades, right? And those, even in a personal trading, just trading on your own, you want to take those trades. You want to have those trades set and taken. If it's a bullish market, you long more, right? You put a little more risk to longing, and you have a little looser stop loss, and you just go with the flow, right? So I kind of want the bot to do the same thing, the same concept with the bot. But yeah, overall, I don't really have much for housekeeping this week. I'm going to keep this kind of a short video. We do have a huge report coming out tomorrow, or today, and that is unemployment claims, manufacturing PMI, flash service PMI, and then the new home sales. Nothing, doesn't really change anything, but these two right here are pretty important, along with this one right here, and they come out pretty early soon. They'll be out shortly here, 8:30. It's now 1:40 right now, so a few hours away. But anyways, this is something to look to. I did post in the group that, look out for that. There's going to be volatility with this. We've had some good volatility today. We had some good volatility yesterday. This is just the start of that. Also, the election's coming up as well. So this is kind of a risky time to be making big trades. This is a good time to just lower the leverage, lower the risk, and just scalp what you can. It is kind of boring. We did have a 3K price move, but it's kind of boring, I would say. Outside of that move, we kind of just went straight up, and then we kind of just went straight down, right? But we did get our pullback that we wanted in my last video. It wasn't as much as I was looking for. It was a pullback, and then we took off to the races. I still think that we will hit an all-time high, and then there will be a nice swing fail pattern play to be had. Anyways, so let's go ahead and get into the charts. I have been looking at the dollar. The dollar's just flying. It's absolutely flying right now, which is concerning for me, concerning for Bitcoin. So my concept of this is, in regards to Bitcoin, I kind of a little bit neutral when you see the dollar going like this. Like, Bitcoin going higher is impossible if the dollar keeps increasing and rising. But we are coming up in this area that I spoke about in my last video. We're getting pretty close to that part right there. And then I would assume that we get somewhat of a rejection from that. But the weekly's still looking pretty darn good. Look how bullish that looks still on the weekly. Let's drop down. the daily. I mean, it still looks really good, which is really putting pressure on Bitcoin. Remember, when the dollar is moving up, Bitcoin has more of a sell pressure and moves down in most cases. So this whole entire move down we had, Bitcoin did kind of have a recovery phase, but also did have trouble at the same time. So it's not always 100%. Nothing's 100%, and that's what you have to take with a grain of salt when you're trading. Nothing's going to be 100%. But I do tell you what, these indicators almost always hit. They're almost 100% always, right? We had a bullish divergence right here and it played out well. Now we're getting some massive top out signals right here. We did have some bearish divergence right here, but didn't really get much of a price reaction to that, unfortunately. But now we're getting some really bad divergences going, a top out signal. Volatility is expanded out as much as once, maxed out there. So I do expect us to have somewhat of a pullback soon here. I would like to see us take this out just for the heck of it as the area that I've been looking for. It would just make sense for us to come back up here and test this area. Let's check out the 12-hour here. Where is the weekly P too? Let's take a look. We'll drop down and look for the weekly P, but I don't think this is the Woody weekly P. Weekly P's right here, so 103. I don't see us coming all the way back down to this. Seems like a far reach for us to drop all the way back down there as a pullback. It's a 1%, yeah. But the 12 hours looking pretty darn bad too. The 10 hours probably just as bad as well. Looking pretty bearish on the dollar right now for me. Yep, 10 hours looking pretty bad. 10 hours still got a little more room up, but not much. The strength of the 12-hour and the daily is pretty concerning for me. The 8-hour starting to flatline a little bit, not looking good for the bulls. 6 hours not looking great for the bulls either. So overall, I am a bit bearish on the dollar right now, which will bode well for us for Bitcoin, and taking technical analysis to Bitcoin and seeing what that's going to do for us. So we do have a top out on the 2-hour. We've had a pullback. Jux does not miss. Let's see, percent here. 0.22%, not much, but God, you gotta love Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and the volatility of that. Can you imagine just sitting here trying to trade this all day? Just dirt, absolute dirt. But overall, I am leaning a bit bearish on the dollar right now, which again, as I said, will bode well for us for Bitcoin. Now, support level, I don't really see anything great for a support level. Let's see if we could drop down to the 1-hour. I'm looking for like a really good order block, and I'm not finding it. I'm not finding a good order block. I would say possibly, I think that's a little too low. Maybe kind of in this general area before we maybe make another test of the high again. I feel like that would be kind of nice to see. We'll save this. So, but yes, I am leaning a bit bearish on the dollar. S&P has been on a tear. We've had a pretty nice pullback right now, but overall the trend has been up. Beautiful chart. Weekly still looks beautiful as well. Whoops. Let's see the daily. Daily's starting to turn over a little bit. Just remember the weekly's looking really darn good. So, at the end of the day, even if these lower time frames are bearish, they won't be bearish for very long just because the weekly is going to pull it back up. But the 12 hours looking pretty terrible. 10 hours looking bad too. And the 8 hours looking really bad as well. We did have a nice little touch of this order block right here. Now, I also have, when I show you Bitcoin, we had a pretty nice order block on the day that we tested and then rejected from. So it's kind of a risky trade. I didn't take any positions for that shorts, but it did go into the order block. Again, I'm looking for a swing fail of the all-time high. But again, when I do look for the swing fail, I want to see us get back into the range. I'm not gonna, you know, if we break out to all-time highs, I'm not gonna sit there and just blindly short this. I'm gonna be very cautious shorting it. You know, we've been testing the highs of Bitcoin for a while, so it's just a concern, a very very big, it could be a very big trade, but it can also be a very risky trade, right? Kind of interesting to see this drop so much like it did. That's crazy. We had some big volatility today, but overall I'm leaning pretty bearish on S&P still. I don't really see 6-hour does have bullish divergence forming, but 6-hour isn't going to do enough to pull what the higher time frames are doing, pulling us down. So S&P is looking pretty terrible. But again, we do have the Forex items tomorrow, these reports coming out tomorrow. So if they are good, we might have a nice rally for the day, a very volatile rally for the day. If these aren't good, then we'll continue the dump that we'll probably pursue. Let's see, estimated. It's tough to say. I don't want to be overly bearish and I don't want to be overly bullish, but I think the Fed was late to pivot, and I think we're going to suffer from it. So I am leaning a little bit that these numbers aren't going to be great. So it's the bearish caveat to that, right? But overall, S&P is just looking really bad. It's not looking good at all. Let's check out Bitcoin. So, like I had said a little bit ago, the daily really gave a nice signal for us. Oh, that broke. We go back another time frame. I can't wait for Pine Script like 6 to come out, or whatever the next Pine Script is going to be that's going to come out. It could definitely use an update. Pine Script is TradingView's program or way to talk to the indicators. So here we go right here. It's kind of ugly, to be honest with you, seeing this. I want to say Ethereum had a better look at this, but you know, we got to R2, monthly R2, and kind of just crashed down. But the day looks really bad. Pretty bearish on the day. The weekly's probably still looking pretty healthy for us. Yeah, weekly's looking beautiful. This is still looking beautiful, and this is why I still think that we have a chance to break this area. But if you do look, I thought it was the daily. I spoke wrong. It was the weekly. You see how we came back into this order block on the weekly? Pretty big trade to have here as well. We came into this area right here, rejected from it, came into this area right here, rejected from it, and now we're back in this area and rejected from it again. So, I mean, even if you were to just take these 3 trades right here, it could be very profitable trades. Now, this box right here was set up because of this conjunction right here. So, you know, the first time that we came up in this area and you tried to blindly short it, you know, it's tough. It's a tough trade to take there. But now the second time around, you kind of know this order block exists. You know, there's a lot of pressure in this area, and you would have done really profitable. And then for the second time, you would have been pretty profitable as well. And then the third time, we're starting to get a little steam. We're losing steam here. The bears are losing steam on this. The candle isn't as vicious yet as this one was. You know, we had the candle right there of nobody knows which way this is going to go, and then we actually swung fail this area. I remember I trading this as well, and then we just had a complete collapse back to the lows. But overall, I mean, looking at this on the weekly, it still looks pretty darn healthy for a weekly candle. I don't really trade candles, the view, like the look of candles and the patterns of them, but it's always, you know, useful to see what happened in the past to what could happen now. Now, we could have the same exact candle form here and then just completely drop the next week. But, you know, time will tell, but it's a pretty nifty, this order block's pretty nifty. Weekly order block's pretty nifty. Now the daily looks ugly. I mean, we didn't even get to the real order block. The real order block would have been 71. And again, I really want this all-time high still. I want us to swing fail this all-time high. I did have it on the chart. I don't know where the chart went. Maybe it's this one. Oh, here it is. This one. Nice. Yeah, all my stuff's up here now. Nice. Sweet. Okay. So I still circling up here. I really want to see us get that. Hold on a second. It's not letting me. Not letting me resize it there. But yeah, I'm still looking for this high up here. This isn't quite the same chart I posted last time in my last video, but nonetheless, it does what we want, what we need. But let's go ahead and go through these different time frames. The weekly's looking pretty bullish still, but again, the daily, the 12-hour, 10-hour can be bearish. We could have a nice little pullback, but that does call for a good opportunity to take a long, because the weekly is set up pretty beautiful. Now the 12-hour starting to come back into the neutral zone, so that's looking pretty healthy right now. 10-hour starting to turn over as well. Eight hours looking pretty darn good. Yeah, these are starting to look, Bitcoin's looking really healthy, I must say. We had a nice little pullback, healthy little pullback, and now we're back off to the races, possibly back into this order block right here, 67.8. But overall, I'm still looking for a all-time high. I think we're due for it. We're due for a new all-time high. But we do have reports coming out tomorrow. We do have the election coming up, so it's a high risk reward play, right? We could get the fake out, low volume fake out to the top, and then an exact, this big bomb, and we just drop back down to the lows. For the future of Bitcoin, I don't want to see that, but again, you have to trade this range. This range has been here, and you have to trade the range. So overall, I am bullish on Bitcoin right now. I don't see any reason to be super bearish on it, other than these higher time frames are pulling back some. The daily is starting to pull back, but there's still some room for it to go higher if we can get these lower time frames to start turning over. 4 hours looking pretty good, 2 hours looking pretty darn good, and the 1 hour is starting to get some bearish divergence playing out right now. But overall, I'm thinking Bitcoin's pretty healthy. I would like to see these kind of turn over, maybe come down a little bit more and turn over a little bit. So I'm front running it a little bit, and I might eat my words for it. But I am leaning a bit more bullish on Bitcoin, and I think that bodes well because the dollar is down right now, or it's working on coming down. That is looking a lot worse than Bitcoin is. So overall, I am bullish on Bitcoin. I did want to take a look at Tesla. It's coming back down to our $100 price target. I want to say I did some info on this, but look at this 10-hour order block. You got to take in consideration that it's over here, and then it just comes over to the side. We tested that and then just completely fell. So great to see that. Weekly's looking terrible. Weekly's not looking good at all on Tesla. The day actually is starting to turn around though pretty nicely. I do like seeing that on the day. See, this is kind of what I would like to see for Bitcoin right now. But the weekly, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look good, but seeing the daily look like that does kind of take my perception of what the weekly is a tad bit. 12 hours looking pretty darn good. Yeah, these lower time frames are starting to look really good for Tesla. I would say I'm leaning a bit more bullish. Oh yeah, I'm leaning a bit more bullish on Tesla right now. And I think that bodes well for the weekly. At least the weekly could pull back up. 1 hour's got bullish divergence forming. Yeah, I think Tesla's due for a little run back to the highs, possibly back to maybe 2357 or so. I'm thinking would look pretty nice. Possibly get back into these MAs and see how that goes. Overall, looking pretty good on Tesla. I want to take a look at Ethereum. I think Ethereum had a better day chart for the order blocks than Bitcoin did, if I'm not mistaken. Man, it's just this is so ugly to see it. It hardly recovered. It didn't recover anything like Bitcoin did. We actually swung fail the daily. Wow. Well, that's nice to see. That's beautiful to see. That is beautiful. And we had bearish divergence. Oh my lord, beautiful. That's a beautiful play right there. You can't get any better than that. Bearish divergence on the daily, and then swung fail that. I mean, there's no order blocks, nothing. That is beautiful. There is an order block on the weekly though. We barely tested it. So both Bitcoin and Ethereum had order blocks on the weekly. So that's great concept to see that. Granted, weekly does take a bit of time to play out, so it's tough to take trades on the weekly because they take a very long time to play out. But however, you know, the process you have to go through to make trades and take them, bearish divergence on the 12-hour, I mean, we swung fill the high, a beautiful short trade right there. What are my thoughts on Ethereum now? Weekly still looking pretty darn good. I'm thinking it's looking even better than Bitcoin is. The daily is starting to turn a little bearish on me. The 12-hour is looking pretty bad too, and the 10-hour is looking really bad. This is not looking anything comparable to what Bitcoin's looking like. Bitcoin's looking so much better. So for me, I would be bearish on Ethereum. It just does not look good on any of these time frames. Maybe the 8-hour, maybe the 6-hour. The 4-hour is looking okay. It's getting better. And the 2-hour is looking okay, but these higher time frames still look really bad. I still see us going a bit lower just so that these can reset just a tad bit. And the last one we're going to look at is Gevo. So I was asked my thoughts on if we would possibly get this gap right here, fill this gap right here. Now, I think we can. I think we should. Weekly's looking pretty topped out. Daily's looking pretty topped out as well. 12 hours looking pretty topped out as well. I mean, it just doesn't. And, you know, 10 hours looking topped out. 8-hour, let's check out 8-hour. 8 hours topped out. I mean, this is just topped out all over. This is not something I would like to see on something that I'm looking to go higher. So for me, I do feel like we come back down here and fill this gap. I don't see why we can't. These higher time frames are screaming for us to go lower. So let's put that right there and let's see what we get with that, right? Well, guys, I appreciate you watching and tuning in. I do appreciate it a lot. You know, if you haven't checked out Bybit, please go ahead and check out Bybit. Use my affiliate code for it. They will do a cash deposit of 30,000 match. Up to 30,000 will be the match. So do check it out. I do love Bybit. I used to use Bybit way back when. And I just went away from it, went to Mexi for a while, and now I moved my way back over to Bybit, I guess. They gave me a really good deal for joining them, and you know, I want to take advantage of that as well. I do have Bybit and BloFin. They're both in the description. I do like BloFin. BloFin has a cleaner UI. I feel like Bybit has a lot of clutter. It's funny because when I first logged in and registered for Bybit back in 2017, 2018, you know, when it first started, I just, you know, it didn't really have much of anything with it at the time. Actually, it wasn't 2016, 2017. It was like 2018, 2019, I think. But it's changed so much since when I first started using it way back when to what it is now. It's funny to see. It's just funny to see that before it was like there wasn't enough to do, like there wasn't enough content, there wasn't enough UI, there wasn't enough features and such, and now it's like maybe there's too much features. So, but anyways, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Till next time, peace.